الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه من سن بسنة الدين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم أرنا الحق حقا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا اجتنابه اللهم إنا نسألك خير ما سألك عبدك ورسولك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذ بك عبدك ورسولك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. I'll ask you some questions to see how many of you know about these words. Anybody heard of Balfour Declaration? How many of you have heard of Balfour? So some people are knowledgeable of that. How many of you have heard of Sykes-Picot Agreement? Sykes-Picot Agreement. Many of us Muslims are not aware of the history of Palestine. We're not aware of how things have reached where they are today. And there's a big history behind this, 150-year history behind all of this where we have reached today. Most important thing that we know as Muslims is Masjid Aqsa is our first Qibla. When you say first Qibla, what does that mean? Where was the Kaaba? The Kaaba was there. But we were ordered to pray towards Baytul Maqdis. And Rasulullah, when he became a prophet, Allah asked him to pray towards Baytul Maqdis. So that's why it's known as Qiblatul Ula, the first Qibla for Muslims. We have an attachment. Our duty to Masjid Aqsa and Jerusalem and Palestine is the same as our duty to Mecca and Kaaba and Medina and the Prophet's Mosque. How much we love the Kaaba, how much the Kaaba is dear to us, how much we defend. If somebody attacked the Kaaba, would you defend, yes or no? Yes. And for 75 years, Masjid Aqsa is under a siege and blockade, and the Muslim Ummah doesn't have. Imagine if there was a siege and blockade around the Kaaba. Imagine if we could not go so easily and freely to do Umrah or Hajj, and there will be occupiers around the Kaaba, torturing the Muslims, blockading the Muslims, only allowing certain people. How would you feel? The Ummah cannot resist that. It cannot bear that. But somehow we have become immune to Masjid al-Aqsa. We have given up, we have become desensitized. We've come to accept the reality that Masjid Aqsa for the last 100 years or so is under occupation. So be it. We have our Kaaba, we have our Medina. That's good enough. It's not good enough. Rasulullah praised the Jama'ah that would liberate Baytul Maqdis. After Prophet Muhammad left the dunya, who was the first person to liberate Baytul Maqdis? Umar ibn Khattab. They handed him the keys without any fight, in the sense that he did not complete the whole battle. As the armies were at the doors of Baytul Maqdis, and they said, we will just give you the keys, ask your Khalifa to come from Medina. And we know the whole history behind that. And then after that, the Crusade War was there, and the Crusaders came and they wiped out, the Muslims from there, and then they took control. Then Allah sent another leader amongst the Muslims to go liberate Baytul Maqdis. Who was that? Salahuddin. And even the Western scholars, Western academics, intellectuals praise Salahuddin in their books of history. They praise Salahuddin that he let go of the non-Muslim armies back to Europe, back to England and France. And he allowed them safe passage, even though the generals of Salahuddin and the deputies said, no, they killed us, they butchered us, we have to take revenge. And Salahuddin recited to them the ayah from Surah Al-Nahl towards the end where Allah says, وَإِنْ عَاقَبْتُمْ فَآقِبُوا مِثْلَ مَا عُوقِبْتُمْ بِهِ وَلَئِنْ صَبَرْتُمْ فَهُوَ خَيْرُ الصَّابِرِينَ وَاصْبِرْ وَمَا صَبْرُكَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. So we're not a nation who want to take revenge. If the enemy wants to go freely without a fight, we let them go. This is not the teaching of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu to be vicious, vengeance, and prove vindication. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, that the rules of engagement of the war, that when if they come to you for peace, if they show you the white flag, accept that. Don't bulldoze them that no white flag, no peace. You have done so bad, we will just butcher you. We're not to that low level of what the enemies of Islam do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran a beautiful ayah about Baitul Maqdis, Masjid Aqsa, and Allah called it Masjid Aqsa. Surah Bani Israel, Surah 17, the first ayah, which talks about the Isra, journey from Mecca to Medina to Jerusalem. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Subhana alladhi asra bi'abdihi layla min al-masjid al-haram ila masjid al-aqsa, alladhi barakna hawlahu, linuriyahu min ayatina. Glory be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who took his slave Muhammad from Masjid al-Haram in Mecca to Masjid al-Aqsa, the farthest mosque. It's farthest away from Mecca. الَّذِي بَارَكْنَا حَوْلَهُ. This land of Masjid Aqsa is very blessed land. Just like Mecca is a blessed land, Kaaba and its vicinity is a blessed land. Similarly, Masjid Aqsa, Baitul Maqdis, and its vicinity is a blessed land. Why is it blessed? Because it's known as Ardul Anbiya, the land of the prophets of Allah. All the biblical prophets, all the prophets that came to Bani Israel were in Masjid Aqsa. That was the headquarters. That's why it's Qiblatul Ula. Salah in the Kaaba, according to some riwayat, is 100,000. One salah in the Kaaba in Mecca is equivalent to 100,000 of our salah in our regular place. One salah in Masjid Nabawi in Medina is equivalent to 50,000. And one salah in Baitul Maqdis or Masjid Aqsa is equivalent to 50,000 of our salah. And there are many other riwayats such as 1,000 or 500, meaning there is extra value of prayer in that holy place. These things tell us that we have a special duty towards Masjid Aqsa. There's a burden of work and effort upon us to liberate Masjid Aqsa. Masjid Aqsa or Baitul Maqdis would in one shape or form always be under the Muslim rule since Umar ibn Khattab liberated it. Yes, the non-Muslim will take it over, then Saddam will take it. Then the Ottoman Empire came, and then Ottoman Empire, the Turks from Istanbul and Anatolia, they took over and they controlled it. So we've had 3 rules over it. But the problem arises is when the Western powers, namely Britain, France, and Germany, when during the time of the siege of Europe, they dismantled the Ottoman Empire. When the Khilafah Osmaniya was dismantled, and they placed their puppet, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. I know some Turkish brothers get upset when you say puppet, but basically Kemal Atatürk was known as the father of Turks. And he was placed deliberately to dismantle the unity of Islam. Dismantle the unity of Islam. When the Ottoman Empire was there, Khilafah Osmaniya was there, it was not a Turkish empire, it was a Muslim empire. Those people who lived around that time, they know very well that you could go all the way from Dhaka, Bangladesh today, or from Mumbai in India, you can go all the way from there to Fez, Morocco, because this was Khilafah Osmaniya. They had spread all these continents. Without a visa, without a passport, without any border, without any checkpost, without anything. You could get on top of any means of transportation, camel or horses or whatever you would have at that time. And they would go all the way from there to Fez, Morocco. Fez, Morocco is on the western part of Africa, right at the outskirts of the Atlantic Ocean. So Muslims were on all of this borderless area. When they dismantled the Ottoman Caliphate, their goal was to break down Muslims into small groups Groups of people. Because when you become into groups, you become into nationalism, identity. These names didn't exist. Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Oman, In the Arab world, there are only 3 or 4 names. Damishq, Ahlul Damishq, Damascus, or Ahlul Sham. The Syrians in the sons of Sham, people of Sham, which covered all of Palestine and Jordan and Damascus and Syria, going all the way up to the borders of Turkey today. Or Ahlul Iraq, the people of Baghdad and Basra. That was another domain to be known. Or Ahlul Yemen, people of Yemen, the south, the whole belt. Or Ahlul Misr. Egypt would be classified to where Egypt is today, to all the Western countries, which would include also Algeria, Tunisia, and all of that. These were the main areas that would be classified within the Muslim land. But when the Western powers colonized the Muslim areas, they broke it down into small pieces. The first thing to establish the State of Israel was back in 1850, the Balfour Declaration, which was in England, to the Majesty of the Queen of England, declared that we will have a safe passage for all the Jews in Europe and all over the world to come and converge on one small piece of land around Jerusalem. Because Jerusalem is for the Jews. That was the declaration. The Solomon temple, Sulaiman alayhi salam's Haykal temple was there, so they wanted to gather all the Jews over there. And that was the first part of declaration. At that time in 1850, Palestine was all Muslim land. It was all under the Ottoman Empire, Khilafah Osmaniyya. And then after that came in the early 1900s, like 1907, 1908, I forget the exact number, the Sykes-Picot Agreement. Sykes was a British general of the army, and Mr. Picot was the French general of the French army. The Sykes-Picot, British and France, they had colonized some parts of the Middle East land, and so they literally sat on a table like this, took a pencil and started drawing lines. If you ever look at the borders of the Arab countries, if you look at the borders of Arab countries, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, and then Syria, and then specifically if you look at Syria and Iraq, that makes me laugh. If you look at the border of Iraq and Syria, it's like a small baby, a child, taking a pencil and drawing lines. You know how you give a baby a pencil and they draw lines like this? That is how Sykes-Picot draws the lines. Okay, this is Iraq, you take that. This is Syria, we take that. This is Jordan, we take that. This is Palestine, and that's how they made the borders. The current border of Palestine was not the original border. That was done during the Sykes-Picot Agreement. And all these other borders, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, and Yemen, and Oman, all these borders were made during this agreement. And that we will divide and conquer, divide and rule. We will separate these Muslims into small bits and pieces, that they will be narrow-minded and live in their own holes. Hence, our hearts became small and narrowed. We were in our hole. I'm Indian Muslim, I'm Pakistani Muslim, I'm Bangladeshi Muslim, I'm a Kuwaiti Muslim, I'm an Iraqi Muslim. Muslims were never in boundaries. I'm a Muslim. Arab or not Arab, that's it. I'm an Arab Muslim or Ajam Muslim. These small pockets was the prophecy of Rasulullah. Yushak man tadal umam. There's a hadith, very, very powerful, profound hadith of Rasulullah. He said that other nations will come to my ummah and chew on them just like you chew on food on a table, on a maida. Each person grabbing what comes in their hand. Just like at a maida, at a table, dining table, you grab the leg, you grab the chest, you grab the shoulder, you grab the ribs, you grab the neck, you grab this. You know how people try to grab on a food of table? That's the exact hadith of Rasulullah depiction, that this will happen to my ummah and the ummah will be divided. And what happens when the ummah is divided? The goal of protecting your qiblatul ula or protecting your holy sites goes out the door. and we become desensitized, we forget about it. And that is why Rasulullah praised the qawm, the group, the lashkar, the battalion, that would liberate Baytul Maqdis towards the end of time. In one narration he says that I see them in Jannah. And in one narration he says, I smell their odor, their smell, the fragrance of that qawm, of that group that would come to liberate Baytul Maqdis. In other words, the topic, our duty to Baytul Maqdis is that we should strive in some shape or form of effort to liberate Baytul Maqdis. But unfortunately today, 1.7 billion Muslims alive, and we don't do anything. Because the first thing we say, oh, our country leaders are not doing anything, what should we do? We just a drop in an ocean, we're just a human being. But if the people in these Muslim countries, they force their leaders to do something, then they might be forced to do something. But if the people become desensitized and accept the status quo, and that's what the enemy and the occupier is really laughing at. They look, I'm butchering their babies, I'm spilling the blood over there, and no one can do anything to me. No one can even raise their voice in front of me, because they have bought everyone. And they know that the Ummah cannot stand up to the mighty power there. But they underestimate the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions a beautiful ayah in the Quran. People have been asking since October 7 that, brother, why is this happening? Where is Allah? Is Allah not seeing this? We cry looking at these images and these videos and these pictures. How is Allah bearing all of this? Aren't these Allah's slaves? Aren't these the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Aren't these people the Ummah of the beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who Allah loves so much? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-An'am, Surah 6, verse 65, قُلْ هُوَ الْقَادِرُ عَلَىٰ أَنْ يَبْعَثَ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابًا مِّن فَوْقِكُمْ وَمِن تَحْتِ أَرْجُلِكُمْ أَوْ يَلْبِسَكُمْ شِيَعًا وَيُذِيقَ بَعْضَكُمْ بَعْسَ بَعْضٍ انظر كيف نصرف الآيات لعلهم يفقهون. In this ayah, Allah says that He is qadir, capable of punishing you, azab, min fawqikum, from above you. Rain showers, tornadoes, hurricanes, coming from. أو من تحت أرجلكم, or beneath your feet, Allah can put an azab for you, ya insan, or ummah al-Islam. Earthquakes, zilzal, or other calamities, disasters, natural disasters that come in the form of an azab or test. And then the third part is very important that he says, Oh, yalbisakum shi'a. Yalbis libas means to wear clothes, right? This is libas, yalbisakum. Shia, the word Shia means sect, group. I know people think of Shia like the Shia group, but originally they were known as Shia to Ali. When in Medina they began demanding that we are the group of Ali, Ali should be the Khalifa, they labeled their group as Shia to Ali. But Ali radiallahu anhu said, I have nothing to do with you. He denounced them, he condemned them. So the word Ali dropped from the sentence, and then they were known as just a Shia. So over these 1400 years, we just know our brothers and sisters from Shia. But the word Shia means group, sect. It doesn't mean what group of that. That's why it says Shia to Ali, the group of Ali. So Allah is saying, Oh, yalbisakum Shia. One of the form of azab that Allah puts on the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is covers them into groups. Today we are so many groups. Every group claiming to be that they are on the Sunnah of Rasulullah and the other is not. In-road fighting, division amongst ourselves. How are we going to liberate Qiblatul Ula? How are we going to liberate Baytul Maqdis when we can't get over fighting each other? And that is very important to understand. The revival of Islam, the revival of Muslims will begin the day we stop fighting each other. The day we become united and focus on one objective and goal, that is when the revival will come. And these are frivolous statements that people say, oh, we're waiting for the Mahdi. When Imam Mahdi will come, he will unite us, he will mobilize us. Imam Mahdi He is not a magician or has a magical stick or wand. He's going to touch people, tick, 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 and all of them are together. Allah is saying that this is a form of azab upon the ummah, that they are into groups. In other words, the hint Allah is giving, remove these groups, become united, become one, and you are a power. And that is why, Rasul said in the hadith, he had made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that, oh Allah, don't, la tusallit alayna, do not overpower upon my ummah an enemy. Don't let an enemy subdue my ummah. Don't destroy my ummah by an external enemy, external power. That was a dua that Rasul made. It is narrated in the hadith that he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ زَوَى لِي الْأَرْضِ فَرَأَيْتُ مَشَارِقَهَا وَمَغَارِبَهَا وَإِنَّ أُمَّتِي سَيَبْلُغُ مُلْكَهَا مَا زُوِيَ لِي مِنْهَا وَأَعْطَيْتُ الْكَنْزَيْنِ الْأَحْمَرَ وَالْأَبْيَضَ وَإِنِّي سَأَلْتُ رَبِّي لِأُمَّتِي أَنْ لَا يُهْلِكَهَا بِسَنَةٍ عَامَّةٍ وأن لا يسلط عليهم عدوا من سوى أنفسهم فيستبيح بغيرتهم وإن ربي قال يا محمد إني إذا قضيت قضاء فإنه لا يرد وإني عطيتك لأمتك أن لا أهلكهم بسنة بعامة وأن لا أسلط عليهم عدوا من سوى أنفسهم يستبيح بيضتهم ولو اجتمع عليهم من بأقطارها وقال من بين أقطارها حتى يكون بعضهم يهلك بعضا ويسبي بعضهم بعضا. Translation. Rasul said, Allah drew the ends of the world near one another for my sake. And I have seen its eastern and western ends. What does that mean? Allah showed Rasulullah the eastern and western ends of the ummah of Muhammad. How far will this ummah go on this earth? It will go to the east and the west. The farthest point on the east beyond New Zealand is Kiwi Island. If you check geography, your map, Kiwi Islands, Fiji Islands is the first place where sun rises on the globe. Like the sun is about to rise, the first place on earth is Fiji Island where the sun rises. And then the west part, the farthest part, before the international dateline changes, is Hawaii Islands. The last island amongst the Hawaii Islands. I think it's Makawi or Maki, or I forget the name. There are a lot of islands amongst Hawaii. The last island is the last place before the international dateline. And Muslims are there too. SubhanAllah, we get a lot of calls from Hawaii on Why Islam Hotline. Hawaii. We get some from Honolulu or from Maui or from Makawi. And they say, and there are Muslims over there. I did some search, Google search, found out there's 2 masjids in Honolulu, Hawaii. How many of you been to Honolulu, Hawaii? Yeah, mashallah. Yeah. You saw the masjid? Good. It's a good masjid. So, see, majority of you are sleeping. You don't go to Hawaii. So, the brothers being to Hawaii, the western part, and there are Muslims there. You go to Fiji Island, there's 5 masajid in the Fiji Islands. And the Muslims over there from the early times. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed Muhammad sallallahu that his ummah will spread on this earth to the farthest east and the farthest west. No space will be left where there's not a Muslim. Allahu Akbar. This is a blessing for the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu. And the dominion of my ummah will reach those ends which have been drawn near me, and I have been granted the red and the white treasure. And I beg my Lord for my ummah they should not be destroyed because of famine, nor be dominated by an enemy who is not amongst them, to take their lives and destroy them root and branch. That's what's happening right now. The enemy is butchering the Muslim ummah, the enemy is spilling blood, killing the babies, killing the mothers, killing the fathers, the grandfathers, grandmothers, totally obliterating the society. And this is what Rasulullah begged Allah that don't destroy by the enemy. And my Lord said, O Muhammad, whenever I make a decision, there is none to change it. I grant you for your ummah that it would not be destroyed by famine, and it would not be dominated by an enemy who would not be amongst it, and would take their lives and destroy them root and branch. Even if all the people from the different parts of the world join hands together, but it would be from amongst them, which is your ummah, O Muhammad, that some people would kill the others or imprison the others. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Muhammad sallallahu, I will not allow outside enemy to dominate your ummah so long as your people are united as one. Put this hadith with that ayah from Surah An'am, Surah 6, and you put the two together, you see the puzzle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised Muhammad sallallahu that your ummah will not be subjugated, subdued by an outside enemy so long as they are united. The moment they start inroad fightings and disunity and disunited into groups and factions and things, a form of azab that Allah will put is that the enemy will be musaytir, enemy will be overpowering them, dominating them, taking control of them. So the best way for us to defeat the enemy is not to fight the enemy. The best way for us to defeat the enemy is what? Unity. Salahuddin is mentioned in the books of history. You can read Salahuddin when he was the leader of the Fatimid Empire in Egypt. They were based out of Egypt, Cairo, Fatimids. When Salahuddin was rallying the people to go to Baitul Maqdis, Jerusalem, at that time the Muslims were divided into at least more than 50 different groups. And every group was saying to Salahuddin, why? Limada? Why Salahuddin? And Salahuddin was not an Arab, by the way. He was not an Arab. He was a non-Arab, Ajam, from Kurdistan. So a non-Arab comes to the Arabs and says, give up your fighting, give up your sectarianism, give up your factionism, come join my hands. We have a main goal in front of us. We have to liberate Baitul Maqdis. If you read the books of history, he went door to door, tent to tent, khayma to khayma, city to city, begging people, come, let's become one, let's become one. And that's how Allah gave Salahuddin barakah. That first he rallied the Muslim groups to be one. Once they became one, then the different tribes and different groups, they said, okay, we give our ammunition, our swords, our camels, our horses together. What is our goal? And Salahuddin says, our goal is Baitul Maqdis. We're going to march to Baitul Maqdis. So people who were in pockets, people who were divided, he joined them, and Allah gave them Nusra over the enemy. King Edward, or I forget who was the king at that time, King Richard, his commander-in-chief was in Jerusalem, and when he saw the big, huge armies of Salahuddin outside, he said, we're nothing, there's no way there's no matchup for us. And he said, it's better to just give it to them. And they said, no, we're going to put up a fight. We can't do that. Small skirmishes happened, and they lost some of the initial skirmishes. And he kept saying, the commander said, look, I'm telling you, these guys are united. Once they're united, we are annihilated. Hey, it rhymes, right? United, annihilated. If we are united, the enemy is annihilated. If we are disunited, who is annihilated? Us. So that, my dear brother and sister Islam, is the conclusion of this whole story, that if we want to liberate Baitul Maqdis, we have to do the same thing that Salahuddin did, is give up our disunity. Have the brotherly love and affection. If the leaders can't be united of the 57 Muslim countries, at least the people can be united. And American Muslims are the best Muslims who can unite the Ummah again. You know why? Who can tell me the answer? This is a pop quiz for you. No other Muslim in the whole world can do what Allah has blessed us that we can do. But we don't realize our power, our strength. We don't realize the gifts that Allah has given American Muslims. What is it?
We're all from different
Diversity.
Diversity, yeah. What else? Is this an Arab Muslim? Tell me, is this an Arab Muslim? Is this a Pakistani Muslim? Every masjid in America is a Muslim masjid. We have the diversity. We have brothers from Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Turkey, Egypt, Sudan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Sierra Leone. We have people from diverse places, immigrants. Muslims from all over the world came here, immigrant. And when we come to pray in the masjid, Taraweeh, Ramadan, we see the brotherhood, we see the sisterhood, we see the unity. This is unusual. In a Muslim country, if you go to the masjid, everybody is the same of that country. You go to Egypt, every masjid in Egypt is going to be all Egyptians. Very rare people who may have come to work or studied there from other countries, you might find them very rare. You go to Pakistan, every masjid in Pakistan, you're going to see majority Pakistanis, except for a few here and there who may have come to Pakistan to study or to work or got married to somebody there. You go to Jordan, you see all Jordanians over there. So in every Muslim country, you have nationalistic people there. What Allah has blessed the American Muslims, there is no nationalism. And may Allah protect us like that. And may Allah protect our masajid like that. May Allah protect our leaders of the masajid who are running the masajid in that diversity, in that companionship, trying to keep away the divisiveness. And that is the beauty of the American masajid. Illa mashallah, you might bump into some masjid in America. Well, they say, oh, this is an Arab masjid, or this is a Desi Hanafi masjid. We only follow the Hanafi way in this masjid. They are ignorant, we pray for them, we make dua for them, Allah give them hidayah. But no masjid is declared as one identity masjid. Masjid is Baytullah, house of Allah. Every Muslim has a right to pray in it. And no masjid administration can declare that that is one faction or one sectarian masjid. Otherwise they're doing a big sin, guna, ism. If any masjid management administration says that this is our masjid, is this masjid. No imam in a masjid can say that this is a Hanafi masjid or a Maliki masjid or a Hanbali masjid or a Shafi masjid. We only follow one school of thought. No. This is the beauty of the American Muslim diaspora that is here. We have different schools of thought. We have different madhabs. We all come together and we are one. This unity that we have is the power of the American Muslims. And we can show the Muslims of all world that if we can be united here in every masjid in America, why can't you get united? That's one thing. Second thing we can do as American citizens in this country, our duty for Baitul Maqdis and Gaza and Palestine, is write to our congressmen and senators. Write letters. This country is a country of intellectualism. They read. There's a switchboard in the White House. Somebody sent me a WhatsApp message last week that this is the number of the extension. Please call. Tell them your name. Tell them from which state and city you're calling from. Tell them your constituency. And register your protest on the phone. That cease fire now. Stop the war in Gaza now. A lot of brothers have called and sisters have called and they listen. If they suddenly start seeing 10,000 calls on the switchboard of White House, they're going to say, hey, something's going on. Write letters, emails. Write emails to your senator, your congressman in Washington, D.C. Your email to your senator and congressman in your state. Write to them. If they start seeing suddenly 5,000 emails coming daily from American Muslim citizens, their ears pop up. They start noticing something. And this happened. A lot of brothers and sisters in the last 2-3 weeks have written letters, have written emails, have called the phone and registered their displeasure that as an American citizen, I am displeased of what's going on over there. Please tell the administration to stop. That's why you saw it recently in the media, mainstream media, like in Fox and MSNBC and CNN. There was a news clip and there was a news analysis by the anchor saying that the American Muslim voters are key in swing states for Biden. Now the Biden administration is a bit worried. Will the American Muslim vote for me? If all the Muslims stand up together and say, we're not going to vote for you, Mr. Biden, in 2024, because you're not helping our brothers and sisters in Gaza, you might lose. There's 7 million Muslims in America, and it's roughly about 20% of them are registered voters. So that's quite a significant amount. But what's the other thing we need to do as duty as Muslim, American Muslim? We need to register to vote. I know many brothers and sisters, many Muslims have this mindset or this misconception, election is haram, voting is haram. I as an imam telling you, if you want to live in America, you have to vote, you have to register to vote. Otherwise, go back to where you came from. That's simply what I say. whether somebody likes it or not. I'm very blunt about it. No imam you will hear will say that you have to register to vote. But I say because our voice is our vote. Our voice is our power. These people, the only voice they listen to is votes. If they know that this block vote I'm going to lose, I know people tell me, but brother, what good is voting? Whether Republican or Democrat, they're both evil. So we have to choose lesser evil. No, maybe there's a third person, independent standing somewhere. If there's an independent or a third party candidate on the ballot for the presidential election, let's all vote for that person. Even though he's not going to win, but he's going to give a big message to the two parties that, hey, this is a force to reckon with. 5 million votes went to, Mr. XYZ. We could have got that 5 million votes, right? And then they will start recognizing. Third thing we can do as our duty to, and I'm finished with that, it's time for the show. The third thing and the most important thing, which many people get upset when I say that, but this is the key to success for American Muslim. If you consider yourself an American Muslim, you have to do that. Get your checkbook out, write big donation checks to the campaigns of people running. What's happening since October 7th? Why the whole American machinery is only talking about one side? Oh, we are sorry about this. We stand with this country. We stand with them. Oh, the people, they came in and butchered in the music festival. Why is every politician talking about them? Because their campaign portfolio is filled with big checks from the other side. We Muslims, what we give? Small amounts, $100, $1,000, $2,000. Why are they going to listen to us? Believe you me, you give a $10,000 check to an XYZ standing for mayor, a council member, or a freeholder, or a senator, their eyes will pop out. Oh, Mr. Ahmed gave me $10,000. Mr. Muhammad gave me $20,000. I better start listening to Ahmed and Muhammad now. Because you are now, money talks. Money talks in this country. You are now a force to reckon with. For them, they don't want to lose this campaign donation, campaign financing. They don't want to lose that. Tell me, Mr. Muhammad, tell me, Mr. Ahmed, how can I serve the Muslim community? What can I do for them? Then they will not be just coming to our masajid in Jummahs or Eids. They literally will be sitting outside with their tents over there. We want to do something for you because they know that there is two things. Muslims vote and Muslims give money to my campaign. That's what's happening on the other side of the aisle. For the last 75 years, they've been giving money, they've been voting, and that is why I did a research myself online. You can go and do it yourself. Everything is on the internet now. Any candidate in America that is supported by AIPAC, you all know what AIPAC is, I don't need to tell you. In the last 75 years, any candidate across America, from California to Florida to New York to Maine, any candidate that is supported by AIPAC never lost. They know that if AIPAC is behind me, my opponent has no choice. Gone. Where is the Muslim pack? Muslims in their own. Muslims just fighting, it's haram to vote, it's halal to vote. It's haram to vote, it's halal to vote. Lage usme lage, wo to nikal gaya. Dushman to aage nikal. We need to understand our role as American Muslims in the global perspective of the Ummah, and we need to understand that our position in this country. Allah has blessed us to be American citizens. Allah has blessed us to be citizens of the most powerful country in the world. And living as citizens over here, we are peaceful, law-abiding citizens. Aren't you? Right? Everybody got tickets? Nobody got tickets, right? If you get tickets, what do? You pay them on time, right? We are law-abiding citizens. We don't mean any violence, we don't mean any aggression, we don't mean any harm. We just want peace in the world. And we will support our politicians. Last but not the least, and the most important thing that you can do, as fathers, as mothers, groom your children to go into journalism. Groom your children to go into political science. Groom your children to become senators and congressmen. When 9/11 happened, we did not have a single congressman, a single senator Muslim. When 9/11 happened. Today, according to one study, we have almost 28 various different Muslim politicians in various states. Currently. Now, in 23 years we've come this far. we can go further. Why I'm saying father and mother? Because every father and mother says to their son or daughter, beta, beti, doctor, engineer, IT, IT, doctor, engineer, IT. Why? 6-figure salary, 6-figure salary, 6-figure. Money is not everything. Tell your beta, beti, the ummah needs you. We need more people, more voices in Washington. We need more voices in Trenton. We need more voices in Albany. Let your son and daughter rise to serve the ummah, not just serve your selfish needs of money. As an imam, when people ask me, what should I guide my son and daughter to do? I say, we have enough doctors, nothing against the doctors, please don't mind. We have enough doctors, and we still have enough doctors in the pipeline, because Desi mentality, where I come from, Pakistan, India, number one thing they want to be better doctor banna hai. तुम पैदा हो पैदा से बोले तुम डॉक्टर बनना इसके अलावा तो कुछ बनने नहीं मेरा मरा हुआ मुंह देखोगे डॉक्टर नहीं बनेगा. This is the kind of dialogue that people say. You'll see my dead face if you don't become a doctor. Now, poor child say, Abba, I don't want to kill you. Abba, I want to make you alive. So, yeah. Even though I have met so many kids in medical school who say, I don't want to be a doctor. But Abba bole, mera mara muh dekho. Main kya maar do Abba ko. This is reality. We may laugh and smile at it. This is the reality of the ummah. That we are forcing our children in only one direction. Yeah, let them be doctors, let them be engineers, let them be IT programmers. But who's going to help the ummah in journalism? We say, oh, the whole media is sold out. Where is Muslim media? Why can't our brothers and sisters get onto CNN? Why can't our brothers and sisters get into Fox or MSNBC? Why can't they go through that? Why can't we have a hijabi sister as an anchor for the 8 o'clock news, for the 10 o'clock news? Because we don't think in that direction. As an ummah, we need to think collectively, what does the ummah need? What does the American Muslim society need? This is our duty, not just for Aqsa and for Muslim, but for the whole ummah, because we are geostrategically positioned by Allah in a very, very leadership position. Whatever American Muslims will say, others will join the bandwagon. If an American Muslim senator or congressman goes to a Muslim country, they literally kiss their feet, kiss their hand because of the blue passport, diplomatic passport, because they know this is an American Muslim senator. American Muslim congressman or woman that has gone. Even the Muslim countries, the leaders over there, they know the value of an American, even though that Muslim may have come from that same. Like there was one Pakistani politician here in America. When he went to Pakistan, they were treating him like he's a king. Although he was born in Pakistan, he immigrated to America, and now he's part of some society here, so now they're valued. And that is what we need to do, my dear brothers and sisters. If not in our lifetime, at least in our children's time, we would lead the ummah and show them the direction for the revival of Islam. That is, we have to have a roadmap. Do we have a roadmap? Do we know where we're going? What are we doing in America? Just eat, drink, play, and sleep, and happy, and come to masjid? Is this what we got to do? Masjid Nabawi was the hub of activity. The role of the masjid was where people would sit down and think and brainstorm and strategize. Everything that Rasul did was in Medina, right? In Masjid Nabawi. How are we going to fight Battle Badr? How are we going to fight Ahmed? He would sit down in the masjid, ask Sahib. So masjid was a place, a abode of strategizing and communication and diversity and making steps, baby steps, taking the baby steps. If today we have 27 Muslim politicians across the country, we should have a goal. In 5 years' time, we should have 270 politicians, Muslims around. And they should talk our narrative. Right now, the narrative is opposite. It's their narrative dominant everywhere. That, oh, these are terrorists, these are barbaric people. They came overnight and over the border and they butchered us. That is their narrative. Where is our narrative? We don't have a voice. We need to be the voice for the voiceless. And for that, we have to be smart. We have to use our intelligence. And we have to use our position. This blue passport that you have, it is a very, very powerful passport because you can go where with that? Where can you go with that? Huh? Baitul Maqdis. How many of you have been to Jerusalem? People very proudly come back, oh, I've been to Jerusalem. I said, have you done anything with Jerusalem? What do you mean, brother? I went there. You've done, some scholars have given fatwa, it's haram to go pray in Jerusalem when it's occupied. That's a minority opinion, but they have given this fatwa that don't go to Baitul Maqdis until it is hurriya, free. Because the free, this is how we can desensitize. If I just go and pray there, I'm not going to do anything to liberate it. But if I have this burning desire in my heart that I want to liberate Quds, I want to liberate Masjid Aqsa, then I will do something towards that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins, may Allah forgive our shortcomings, may Allah give us the hidayah, may Allah show us the right path, may Allah accept all our du'as that we've been making for the last 3 weeks for our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine and Gaza. May Allah make it easy upon them. May Allah also give us the tawfiq. May Allah use us for the khidmah of His deen. May Allah use us for the service of the Ummah al-Islam. Jazakallah khair wa sallam.